my name is Sarah and my channel is Knotty Gnome Crafts. Welcome to another Friday Sews. It's time for me to share what I've been sewing this week and give you some plans for next week. Before we get started, I am wearing the Fiber Mood Bonnie top that I made out of a cotton linen fabric earlier this year. And then on top, I am wearing the Starting Point wrap, which is a mystery shawl that I made from Joji Locatelli. It is one of the very few mystery shawls that I've ever done because I usually don't like agreeing to knit things when I don't know what they look like in advance. But in this case, I think it worked out really well. I actually really love this shawl and I wear it quite a bit actually. Okay, so let's just get started with my finished project for the week. I think in my last Friday Sews, I told you that I was going to start McCalls 7831, and I did go ahead and do that. This is an overalls dress, and I made view C, and I ended up using a 9-ounce bull denim from fabric.com that was a remnant that I had in my stash. I'd used part of the fabric to muslin the Persephone pants when I made them last year. And I realized that this denim is not a super high quality, and so I thought this would be a good option to make a wearable muslin, and if it didn't work out, I wasn't going to be too upset about it. So this is my dress. I actually just washed it and let it air dry, and I haven't ironed it yet, so it's a little bit wrinkly. But yeah, this is what it looks like. And actually, Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room had left a comment on my previous video when I said I was going to make this, and she gave me some advice to skip interfacing the straps because it doesn't really need it. So I took her advice and it worked really well. The straps were easy to turn by using my chopsticky point turner tool things. I'll link them down in the description box. I really like those tools. I find them really helpful when you're turning straps. So yeah, it was really easy without the interfacing to turn the straps. And this does have a lot of top stitching. I did use red top stitching thread, mainly because I was running out of regular Gutermann thread. And so I did not actually have enough red thread left to wind a bobbin with it. So all of the thread on the inside is all these random colors that I had left. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see that. But whatever, like I said, it worked out because it's just a wearable muslin. I'm not that fussed about it. And I did use 1.5-inch buckles because I had purchased ththese buckles from Amazon because the overalls that I want to make call for 1.5-inch buckles. And the McCalls pattern calls for 1.25-inch buckles, but I just wanted to use what I had. Again, it was just a wearable muslin. But next time, it is a little bit awkward looking. Next time when I make the real version of the dress, I will go ahead and order 1.25-inch buckles for this dress. Now I did do the facings, so that's what the pattern called for, but next time I will definitely do some things differently. The first thing that I'm going to do differently next time is that instead of doing the facings, I'm going to line the entire dress with a slippery fabric so that it'll be easy to slide on and off over other garments and it won't stick to tights. The other change that I will make next time is that instead of using these tiny little patch pockets, which are honestly not very useful, I can barely even stick my hand in them, I'll just replace these patch pockets with inseam pockets, and I'll put the inseam pockets in between the lining and the skirt, or I'm sorry, the lining and the dress. And I think that those will just be more useful for me. Other than that, I think that this worked out really well. I made the size 10 because I wanted to make sure that it was roomy enough to fit a thicker top underneath, and I think that was a good decision. I don't have any modeled shots for you today, but I will be bringing you a video next week with some styling options for both of my new pinafore dresses. So both this one and the Sew House 7 dress that I made last week. So if you're interested in seeing that, now is a good time to hit that subscribe button and make sure you hit the notification bell so that you'll know when I upload new videos. So after I finished the dress, it was time to get back to my October plans. And so I went ahead and pulled out Simplicity 9239, and I wanted to make a shirt jacket out of some Mind the Maker denim that I had purchased from D&H Fabrics. And I am almost finished with it. There's just the only thing that I have left to finish on this is to add the buttons and buttonholes. And I'm super happy with how this turned out. I made view C, but I did the sleeves from view A. And I'm not going to go into details in this video because I will do a full review once the jacket's actually finished. But suffice to say for right now that I tried it on and it fits really well. I think I'm going to get so much wear out of this jacket, and I can't wait to give you more details when it's actually done. So because buttons and buttonholes are not my favorite thing to do, my machine hates doing buttonholes and it always messes up. So I'm probably just going to do that tomorrow when I'm fresh. But after I finish that, the next thing I'm going to start is also from my October plans. I need to make my September needle chart box, which was the Chuck and Notch Page hoodie. And the fabric that I got in the box is in Atelier Brunette French Terry in this beautiful print. And then there's also some matching ribbing. So I think what I've decided to do with this is that instead of doing the hoodie, I'm going to extend it into a dress. And if you watched my Sew Inspo Everlane video, I had mentioned there was a sweatshirt dress in that video, and it has a raw hem. And so I think what I'm going to do is just simply extend the length down to where I want it to be and then leave the hem raw because I really like that look. And I think that wearing this over leggings or cozy tights will just maybe the most comfortable loungewear piece that I could possibly have. And I chose to do a dress instead of my original plan, which was to make the hoodie and matching shorts, because we basically have arrived in the cooler weather now, and I don't think that I would get much wear out of shorts this time of year. But a sweater hoodie, a sweatshirt hoodie, I would just wear all the time. I don't know if I'm going to have time to finish that up and then still have some time left in the week to sew something else. I'm just gonna have to play it by ear. So the final thing that I have to share with you is a prompt. There's now a Facebook group for Friday Sews creators, and Jen from Today in Jen's Sewing Room has been so kind as to come up with some topics for us to discuss. So the first one is to talk about the first project that you ever sewed. So when I was growing up, my mother was a sewist and she made a lot of my clothes, and I would assist her. Like, she would put me in charge of cutting out the fabric, and then as I got older, she would let me sit at the machine and sew some of the straight seams, and she would do all of the other things. So I was very familiar with sewing, even though I didn't really technically do it as a child. But when I really started sewing as an adult was after I graduated from college. I got a job, and have to be a little bit careful about what I say here because I do technically still have the same job. But as I've gotten older, I've got a lot more responsibilities now than I did when I graduated. But back then, in 2002, I didn't have a lot of work to fill up my time. Like, because I had just been in college, I was used to being busy all the time, whether it was working or doing homework or socializing, you know, all those things. But after graduation, I found that I had a lot more hours to fill because I did my 9 to 5, and then it's like, well, now what? So I decided that I needed a hobby. So I took up knitting, and I love knitting. I still love knitting. I will always love it. But you know, even back then when I could knit for longer amounts of time, you can't just sit there for hours and hours and hours and hours and knit because it's really hard on your body. So I did find that after a few years that I'm like, you know, I think I need another hobby, just something to kind of mix things up a little bit. So in 2005, I went to Walmart and I picked up a Singer sewing machine for around $100 because that was all I could afford at the time. And the very first project that I ever made was some pillow shams. I had this duvet cover that was a Mary Mecco duvet cover that I really loved. I loved the fabric, but it was from a duvet that I had when I was in college. And so after college, I moved into an apartment that I shared with a roommate, and I had a bigger bed. And so I had this twin size Mary Mecco duvet, but I had a larger bed, so I couldn't use the duvet anymore. And I decided to cut it up and make pillow covers so that I could still enjoy the fabric. So that was my first project. It took me a really long time to dig up the photo, but I did manage to find it. So I will insert it here so you can see what my project looked like. I have no idea what tutorial I used. I'm 100% sure that I used some tutorial on the internet, and it was all straight seams, so it was super easy. And yeah, I mean, I think it was a good starter project. It was kind of maybe a little bit boring to talk about now, but I think that as a very beginner sewist, it was a really good project to start with because it was all just straight lines and then, you know, easy to finish, quick to finish, and then you get results. So yeah, that was the very first project that I ever completed as an adult. So that's everything that I have for you today. It's a quick little video, but I have a lot going on, so I needed to get in and out. And so I will be back again tomorrow because we're still doing Vlogtober. There's a few days left. So I'm going to leave you here, but I will be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning in to watch my videos. I appreciate that you take time out of your day to watch my channel, and I'll see you next time.